Hello and welcome to Humans of Fuzia. I'm Riya Sinha, your host, and today we have the pleasure of welcoming Ursula Cameron. She is the director of Ursula Cameron Limited and aims to help people achieve their full potential by providing valuable coaching, training, and mentoring. Welcome.
Thank you, Riya.
Great. So now that we've had this little introduction, I was wondering if you could briefly introduce yourself and what work are you doing now and kind of what led you to that?
Okay. Yeah, of course. And thank you for having me, Riya. It's really a pleasure to speak to you and everyone that listens to this interview. So I've been training, coaching, mentoring for over 20 years now. Gosh, I'm trying to think, 23, 24 years. What I really love, I love using psychometric tools. So I use a lot of psychometric tools as a coach, particularly. So I use emotional intelligence. I'm also a master practitioner, workplace resilience and wellbeing. And I use career mapping, psychometrics. It really kind of gives me an opportunity to fast track people. So rather than spend quite a lot of time finding out about them, we hit the ground running with coaching because I've already got some scientifically led data to start from. So what am I doing a lot of at the moment is exactly that. So under the workplace resilience and wellbeing in that arena, I'm able to measure people's resilience and the impact that's having on their well-being in the workplace. So that's really taking up a lot of my time at the moment because lots of individuals and teams are going back to trying to find a new way of working post-pandemic and have lost connection with each other as a team. And even ourselves as individuals, none of us knew what kind of impact the pandemic would have on us in the workplace. And I think being able to do one-to-one coaching with people that says, well, this is how your measure has come out, and why do you think that might be, and what can you do about it to build resilience to help you feel better and perform better. So that's taking up, I would say, probably 50% of my time at the moment, just doing that alone. But that's really rewarding. And it's a great tool. I'm able to use the world's first psychometric tool that measures resilience and the impact on well-being. So that's quite an exciting place to be working in at the moment. I'm also still doing lots of training and able to go back to face-to-face training a bit more now. So that's really nice. In a training environment online, it just doesn't quite feel the same as being in a room full of people learning and growing and being able to share that energy that's in the room at the time. So being able to do more in-person training has been great recently too.
Great. That sounds amazing. And it sounds super fulfilling as well. Being able to kind of, like you said, train and fast track people to achieve what we know that they can. And I wanted to ask you, how do you think your culture or your background or your childhood informed the way that you made decisions about your career or just decisions that you have made currently?
Okay, that's a really interesting question. I think I come from a very sort of working class English family. We don't tend to move a lot. Most of my family live within a 10-mile radius of where I live. But what I think my family have done, and I can see this in my sister as well, is given us the confidence to move outside of that area and move outside of that comfort zone. So I think, I've traveled internationally with my career. I work predominantly in the UK at the moment, but I have worked outside the UK a lot. And I think that makes my childhood and my upbringing has given me the kind of confidence and also the opportunity to be able to just say, I'll take a risk, and if it doesn't work out, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So that not having that fear of failure, I think, has been really helpful in the way that I've been brought up. And I still make mistakes now, but that's okay. You know, I don't put on be perfect all the time, and if I make mistakes, that's fine, because I'm still moving in the right direction, and that's how I see it.
Yeah, I completely understand that. And I think that's such a good mindset to have as well. Okay, so I next just wanted to ask, what are the 3 topics that you are most passionate about?
Okay, so I'm going to start with my number one passion, which is about belief and helping people to believe in themselves or what they're doing, whatever that might be. I think it has to start with belief. If people feel they're learning some new skills or gaining some experience without any value, it really does impact on the value and the benefit they gain from it. So starting with belief, I think, and then building on to that, the confidence to be able to take whatever they learned or whatever they want to achieve and actually make it happen. Someone described me recently, so a mentee that I'm working with said it feels like having my own personal cheerleader. And that's a great thing to hear for me. You know, that fills me with joy, because that's where it starts. I am their cheerleader. Mm-hmm. I really want them to grow, develop and learn, but then move on from that. So they don't need me as a cheerleader. They become their own cheerleader. And I think that's really important. So I think belief, confidence, and just having that ability to be able to help others. You know, I've had a fantastic career, and I've had some great mentors along the way. And I think it's really been now a great opportunity for me in probably the last 5 or 6 years to be able to give back more. And the ways that I do that, one of the ways is I'm a Princess Trust business mentor. So being able to help young people set up their own business. I'm with them for a period of 2 years. So it's not a quick thing. You know, this is it's a longevity thing, and a consistency within the mentoring. So I help, and I've been able to help, you know, probably now. So I've worked with 5 young people. I've been able to help them set up their own business. Wow. Mm-hmm. So, you know, what it's a real pleasure to watch their journey and then grow and develop. I'm also mentor with the Chartered Institute of Personnel and Development, and they offer professional qualifications for people going into HR and training. Mm-hmm. And then once they've gained that qualification, they get 6 months with a mentor, and I'm one of the mentors that offer my services free, to enable them to find the role that they want. Having gained, you know, put all the hard work into gaining a qualification, I help them then decide what they're going to do with that. Sometimes that's moving on in a company, progressing and gaining a promotion. Sometimes it's moving out of the company. Sometimes it's setting up by themselves in a freelance way. So I love doing that. And I think that's probably my 3rd passion, where I'm able to give something back and share some of the valuable lessons that I've learned, and also the great mentors that I've had as well, being able to share some of their insights too.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. And I love how you mentioned that now you've kind of like progressed in your career, so you're able to give back, versus at the beginning, you know, it might have been more like you had to focus on growing your own business. But it's so nice to hear that now you're able to give back. And kind of just going back to like remembering, I guess, the beginning days of when you started to work, what were some of the challenges that you faced in your initial years of your career, and what are the present ones that you face, and are they like different or similar?
I think they're very different, Rhea.
Mhm.
I think back to when I started, my fear of not getting any work, my fear of saying no to anything. I would just say yes, 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 I'll do that. And I was always fearful that the end of this piece of work would be the last. Nobody would employ me again. It was all
Yeah.
those kind of limiting doubts that we have were there for probably 2, 3, 4 years, until I kind of realized the next piece of work will come along.
Yeah,
That
exactly.
I can turn work down. I don't have to be working 24/7. But that was a valuable lesson to learn. And I think one of the challenges as well was, at the time, a lot of my work when I started was in financial services. That was a sector that I knew about, and that was my first freelance piece of work. So that led me to other pieces of work within that sector. Now, I know it's changed now, but at the time when I started working in that sector, it was very male dominated, and in lots of contracts, I was the only female working on the contract. So that was a real challenge, and knowing how to behave, how to fit in, where I needed to fit in, and where I needed to draw the line and say, well, that doesn't suit me,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
I'm not comfortable with that. That was really challenging, because that was all a new area for me to operate in. I don't have that anymore. I feel much more confident in being assertive and asking for what I want and saying what I don't want. But in those early days, it's a difficult arena, particularly when you feel you are minority. I was a woman in a man's world, and that felt quite intimidating at times. So, yeah, that was a real challenge. I think the challenges I face now, it probably more through the eyes of other people. So challenges of getting others to see their own ability, getting others to see their own strengths. When I'm coaching, I talk about super strengths, and some people I'm coaching will say, I haven't got any super strengths. And just the challenge of getting them to see their own super strengths is something that takes time, and it doesn't always come as quickly as I'd like, but I have to go at the pace that people want to go at.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's frustrating, it's a challenge, because I can see what the potential that they can't, and
Yeah.
getting them to see their own potential is probably the biggest challenge.
Okay, great. I think that was an amazing answer, and it's so interesting to see, like the progress from with the challenges you have now versus before. I guess now moving towards the future, like what are you looking forward to in the future? Do you have any new opportunities coming up?
So I found working on my own predominantly over the years. I have used associates, and I do work now with a couple of people on an associate basis, but predominantly I've worked on my own. But what I really have found I've enjoyed in the later years is collaborating and having partnerships. So I've recently partnered with a mental health charity called Shawmind, who are all about mental health education in the education sector. So in schools, universities, helping people with their mental health. So the workplace resilience and wellbeing work I do fits really well within that area. So I think it's not just about me getting fulfillment from what I do. I actually really now enjoy that collaborative approach and being able to enjoy success in a partnership way. So I'm looking to do more of that. I'm also going to be partnering with the Nottingham Trent University, which is a local university, on a business program. So helping businesses to grow and develop on an individual basis, so on like a leadership and management basis, but also to grow their business from where they are now to be able to upscale their business. So what do they need to do that? So that's a great collaboration as well. So I'm looking, I guess, for more opportunities and more challenges. And if I can do it in a collaborative way, then that's just more fulfillment for me, more enjoyment, more fulfillment. It's fun working with other people on a joint project.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. Yeah, so I think my final question is just, do you have any motivational messages or pieces of advice for the audience and younger women who are watching this interview?
I think one of the things that I've used a lot as a phrase in my training and coaching and mentoring is, whether you believe you can or if you believe you can't, whichever that is, you're probably right. And what I mean by that, it all starts with belief. If you believe you can do it, you're absolutely right and you will do it. If you believe you can't, then that's what the outcome will be. So, and I think, start with that belief. And if you don't believe something, why don't you believe it? And really do some soul searching to see what's stopping you believe that you can achieve it. Because if you get to that point where you think, I can do this, you're 50% there. You really are. It's just then doing the right actions after that. Doing the right actions at the right time will get you the outcome that you want. But initially, it has to start within. It has to start with that belief. So I think, if you don't believe it, it's a case of asking yourself why. What's stopping you believing it? What's getting in the way of you believing that you can really achieve what you want to achieve?
Wow, that was so amazingly worded. I've actually never heard that advice before. So I think that's super unique and something that the audience will definitely have a new insight on. So that's amazing. So yes, those are all of my questions. Thank you so much for being a part of the Humans of Fuchsia interview and initiative. Did you have any other questions, something else you wanted to add?
No, I don't think so. And maybe one thing to add, and this is kind of been something that, for people watching, there's always something that holds you back.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things that held me back for a number of years was the fact when I left school, I went straight into work. I didn't go to university. And I think that has always held me back in my life. So later in life, in my 20s, I caught up, if you like, and I did a degree and I did a master's degree, and I've gone on to love education and educating myself as well as helping others. And then I think the pinnacle for me was when I actually worked for a university as a lecturer and working with students. And that was my moment of, this doesn't have to hold me back anymore. That was my moment that proved to me that all the years that I thought apologized, I've said to people, I didn't go to university. I didn't follow that route. Always felt a little bit disappointed that I didn't. Actually, it doesn't comes later in life, as long as at some point you readdress that and you say, well, that didn't matter, and actually I'm stronger as a result of that, and I've rectified it in my own mind, because I've come to that point where not only did I was called an academic. I do lecturing people as an academic for a university. So that was my moment to say, this is no longer holding me back anymore.
Yes.
That's my only thing to add, really.
No, I think that was so amazing and such a valuable piece of insight that I think so many, especially younger women, will relate to and grow from. So yes, thank you so much for participating again. And yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you, Riya. No, it's been lovely talking to you. Thanks so much.
Great. So I'm going to just stop the recording.